Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Jen here from JynDrawz, and today we're going to be unboxing this Himi alcohol marker set. I had seen someone on YouTube using it, and I had someone in the comments recommend it to me. I will tag them in the description below. Package comes with 80 markers, a marker pad, two 2B pencils, an eraser, and a pencil extender. The case is really neat. I like that it's a nice case where all of them are in individually. It is a little difficult to open. Comes with a swatch card, and of course, like all markers these days, they don't seem to come color sorted or in the order of the swatch card even. That was something fun to get to do, is to sort them all and see what they are like. They are a little difficult to get out of the case because they are so slim at the top. I felt like every time I went to pick one up, it just kept sliding back into the box. But other than that, I think they're pretty neat. It's at least a unique design to the marker. I did sniff the markers. They don't really smell terrible. I mean, it's an alcohol marker. It's not the worst smelling marker. It was fairly okay. And as you've seen, one side had a brush tip, the other side was a chisel tip. It came with that black pencil extender, two 2B pencils, and a really tiny eraser. And the marker pad is made from marker paper. So it's like this plasticish paper, and it's really not meant for blending. It's more for like layering only, which you will see later on when I test the markers out on it. First, I'm going to sharpen one of the pencils. I got my Tagal pencil sharpener out. I put it on 3, and then I started sharpening the pencil. The pencils are very cute. Not much to say about them. It's just a simple 2B pencil. I could sharpen it. It had a nice fine point. It didn't break or anything when I used it on the marker pad. So that's really cool that you got a pencil, 2 pencils, and a pencil extender with an eraser. The marker pad has 30 sheets of paper. They're typical thickness, typical marker paper. Nothing special I can say about it. I was now counting out to see which way I needed to go with the markers so that when I do fill in the color swatch, that the markers are then in the case in the correct order. They were all pretty juicy except for one, unfortunately, which you will see later, and I remedied that with a little bit of fluid. The paper, I'm not sure what kind of paper this swatch paper is. It's like kind of thick, kind of not, and the marker kind of puddles on it. So I'm not sure about it. When I was swatching it, I didn't realize that my camera wasn't focusing on the swatch card the whole time, but sometimes it was focused on the markers. So when it's not in focus when I'm swatching, I'm speeding that up a little, but you can see every color then on the swatch pad, so you get an idea of the colors that are in this set. I can't complain about the colors. I think it's really great that they have some really dark and really vibrant colors as well as the pale colors. So that's really nice that you get a wide variety of colors. It's just a little strange that the M8 to M7 to M6 are so wildly different in hue and tint. It's a little odd, I thought. While all the other colors seem to have a nice, you know, fade where you could like mix the 3 together and you could have like a dark, a medium, and a light. But this was like very different. Then they were all 3 very different shades. It didn't look like you could really blend those really well. I I didn't find too many colors were too samey, but the really light versions of the colors were very light, very pale. And when I initially put the color on the paper, I was like, is it even doing anything? But after it dried, the alcohol dried, you could see that there was color and it did tint the paper. So that's usually quite unusual to have such light colors in this type of markers, because usually cheap markers, you do not get this light pale tints, and you usually only get the saturated and the deep colors and the bright and vibrant colors. As you can see, that YG1 was dried out. You could see it in the tips of the marker, so I just added some fluid to it. I then kept adding it until it didn't look like it was soaking into the tip anymore, and it's also very important to remove both caps when filling it. That way that you can let the fluid seep through the tips and you don't have any pressure, and it doesn't explode out the other tip when you remove the cap. Just as a tip on how to fill an alcohol marker. I then laid it horizontal on my desk and finished filling out the swatch card so that all that liquid could be absorbed inside the whatever holds the fluid in the marker itself, and can be absorbed into the tips. And as you saw on the back of this card, I didn't even notice it at first, but there is a printed version of the colors, and as you can see, they're quite different than what actually swatches out, so I wouldn't advise using that for reference. And if you do use these markers, swatch them out on the actual paper you're going to be using them on, because on all papers they're going to appear differently. I was pretty happy with the coverage of all the colors. They worked out pretty well. Thought that was pretty neat. And as you see here, I tested the marker again, but it was still quite dry, so I added some more of that fluid to it, both tips, and I just kept dropping it on very carefully until you didn't see that either the chisel or the brush end looked dry anymore. And then I just laid it horizontally on my desk and let it sit there until I was happy that it had time to absorb into it. And then I tested it again, and then if it was still a little bit dry, I added a little bit more just to make sure that it was fully fluid again, and hopefully it'll be recoverable. I mean, it's the lightest color, so I can't really do any damage to it by adding extra fluid. It's just going to make it lighter than maybe what it was originally supposed to be, but that's okay. Here I am trying to blend on that marker pad paper, and I tried two different techniques. One where you pre-soak the paper, and the second one where I just tried flicking it into one another and then blending it over. And you can see that the paper is a bit plasticky, and the liquid of the marker puddles on it. So that's why you can see it drying and everything like that. And it's very different than when you use a mixed media paper or any other type of paper. Then I was playing with the colorless blender, adding some white dots to the one and drawing a zigzag through the other. So you can see what kind of effects you can create with the colorless blender. I then used the cool grays to shade a sphere and a box. And like I said, this paper is really not meant for layer blending. It's more for like just layering and not blending like I usually do on my other papers. So I wasn't too ecstatic with the results there. But I think once I make an actual artwork on regular paper that I usually use, I think they will work out pretty well, and I will try to get an artwork made with them in the coming week so you guys can see how they are when you use them on different kinds of paper and get different kinds of results. With this box, you'll see that I just do more of a basic layers, and they dry in between each layer rather than soaking the paper and trying to blend the layers. So you get more of a sketchy look, more of a architect look, where they just layer on top and don't blend out, and it's more not unblended, I guess. I don't know what else to call it, just a more unblended look to it, which is fine. I mean, I'm not against that look. It's pretty neat too. It's just not what I typically do. I usually like to blend the colors and have it look more soft and faded. Also, I found out that you can have the case on its side and have the lid open. It did make it a little easier to get the markers in and out. It also has a nice handle. I didn't remember to show you in the beginning. So you can really take this set with you anywhere and draw on the go. Since it has enough colors and a wide variety of colors, I think it's really great if you want to have it as your to-go set. I then thought, oh yes, I should really try that dried out marker and see how it is now that it's been a day and a half since I did the initial swatching. And it was working pretty well, but I decided to add a little bit more fluid to it because it was still a little bit on the dry end, and especially that chisel tip, it was pretty dry, so I really dabbed on more color, more of that fluid there to get it a bit more soaked up and a bit more moisture to it. These are again the colors that I swatched out, and I'm really looking at those M colors, how widely different they are from one another, while all the others you could make some nice blending groups with, and how they are all wildly differently from the printed version, but I guess that's to be expected since print is not actual swatch color. So, what did you guys think of this set? Do you think you would get this set? Do you like this set? Comment below, let me know what you think about it, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. If you really like this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment below. It helps push my videos out into the algorithm, and I will see you in the next one, guys. Bye!